Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. And you'll notice that I don't actually have anything on the table here just yet, but we are gonna, and we're gonna talk about something a little bit different. Just recently, very recently, I kind of concluded a little bit of a celebration for Beast Wars that I did, and during that time, I covered a couple of figures. Now, this first one wasn't actually part of Beast Wars, but I want to just bring them in for a second as a reminder. This is Skybite, and I looked at him in episode 188, and he was a Predacon from the original Robots in Disguise, also known as Car Robot series. And I looked at our good friend, let's see if I can, here we go, Waspinator. And I'm showing him back on for a reason, because he has a little, and I'm not going to zoom in on it here, but he has a little Predacon symbol right here. And I thought about it. We do a lot of talking on this channel about Autobots and about Decepticons, but what about the forgotten faction? What about those Predacons? Well, you know, I'm going to kind of deal with that now, because I feel like that's a faction that we've sort of forgotten about, but one that, thanks to Transformers Prime, could probably actually be a viable faction. And in the next few videos, and I'm not going to belabor it or spend a long time on it, but I'm going to kind of talk about a few of those Transformers Prime Beast Hunter figures and how they can sort of go together to give us a viable third faction which throws off the whole dynamic of just the good guys and the bad guys. And we're going to start things off by looking at this figure today. This is the Transformers Prime Beast Hunters Deluxe Class Ripclaw in the latest GotBot True review. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, I'm going to ask that you like, comment, subscribe, share all of that good stuff. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor. Look me up everywhere. And explore the channel a bit, see what might catch your interest. Now, a few years ago, we had, I would venture to say, and this is just my personal taste, I would say that we had perhaps the best series, the best fiction that we've had since G1, being Transformers Prime. And the third season of that brought us the whole Beast Hunters subline that I think we can all agree had sort of a mixed reaction at best. This was one of those figures from that line. I'm going to just lay her off for a moment. Here's the packaging. Now, I don't usually have packages, especially older ones like this. I'll take this back a bit. Here's the packaging for it. You know, they came in beast mode inside the package. This was Ripclaw, and here was the back with the product shots and, you know, a little bio about how she's fiercely loyal and, you know, can destroy Autobots and I guess Decepticons by using her, what was it, the weapon called? Her siphon claw. Her snapping siphon claw. I got this figure not at retail. If you've been watching for a while and keeping up with the channel for a while, let's just bring this back in. If you've been keeping up with the channel for a while, I got her, and I also got Red Alert, the Generations Red Alert, who I looked at in episode 93. from a local convention earlier the year. I got them from Mike. He runs Buddy Toad Collectibles. I guess you would say it is a local hobby shop. From where I'm to, it's actually about 4 hours away in another town, in the town of Gander. You know, if you know that town, if you know my province, you know, what can I say? If you're out in Gander, check out Buddy Toad, why not? I've gotten a few good collectible items, not just Transformers. But anyway, that being said, I picked this figure up because I'd gotten to a point where I was like, hey, you know, maybe, just maybe, I can make a viable third faction, and I think that's a really cool concept, to be honest with you. And out of package, this is pretty much what you got. It's sort of a weird dragon type of creature, but I wanted to show out a package because out of package, this tail section, which feels really good, it's articulated slightly at all of these joints, and it can, you know, turn and bend up and, you know, bend out straight. I don't think it's soft rubbery plastic, but what's inside, the hinges inside, I think are soft rubbery plastic. But out of package, this is just kind of hanging free like that. And there's actually let's see if I can show this now by getting the tail out of the way. There's actually a slot up here in the goldish section, and you are supposed to basically pull the tail back a bit and angle it up there so that it kind of comes up over her back, I suppose, a little bit more like that. And it still has a lot of mobility there. It kind of stays in, it sort of stays in, but that's what you're supposed to do with it. You don't have to, obviously. I think it's a really interesting color scheme. I sort of dig it. It's an interesting transformation, and it's an interesting robot. Not perfect. So here's where I think the big weakness fell down in the whole Beast Hunters line when we were talking about the faction of Predacons, is that most of them didn't really appear in the fiction. I think they appeared in a mobile game. There was some written fiction in the package, and you got different chapters attached to the instructions, and that kind of told the story, so to speak. But they weren't actually in the show, and that, I think, hurt that faction a lot, or at least not many of them were in the show. This is one that didn't appear in the show. I really think should have. I really think that they could have done a lot more to kind of flesh out this group. That being said, because of that, I'm going to have to give the paint apps a 10. What can I say? There's nothing really to compare to per se, so I'm going to give it a 10. I do like the kind of marbling texture on the wings. You sort of see it up around the top here. A lot of these figures have that marbling texture, and I dig it because it makes each figure a little bit unique, so I'm going to say a 10. Posability, playability. Well, in this mode, the head can go up and down. The jaw opens and closes, even though the top of the head is all soft, rubbery plastic. There's an elbow and a bicep swivel, and the arms or the front claws can go all the way back and forth. The wings move. The tail moves all around. You already saw that. The legs can move out like this and stretch out however you want them to stretch out. The feet can move. So there's actually a lot of articulation. Now, one of the things that I think has kind of plagued a lot of Transformers that turn into beasts is that they often end up having very limited articulation in their beast mode because they go for a more organic type of style. We saw that a little while ago with, characters like Rhinox and Rat Trap here on this channel. And I looked at them, I can't even tell you, 191, 192, maybe in episodes 191, 192, around that area. These guys aren't really going so much for a organic type of look, I don't think. I feel like that it's okay for these to look like metallic beasts, and it works for them. So that being said, I think the articulation here is really great. I think the articulation for this figure in beast mode is a bit better than it is in robot mode, because we do have a couple of limits there. As such, I'm going to give the overall articulation 7.5. We have a 10, we have a 7.5. So far, Ripclaw, she's a pretty good figure, and I do say she because, as best as I can tell, she's the only female Predacon. So, you know what? Hey, I am all for kind of like the equal representation, you know, even in toy lines that we know and love. So, hey, why not? Why not? And because she's scoring well, I guess the only thing we got to worry about now is transformation. Luckily, transformation is kind of quick and easy for a lot of these. So we're going to kind of jump into that. We take her and we extend the leg and we extend the leg. We take this shin piece here after we extend the leg, and there's a red hinge right there. And that red hinge allows the whole thing to come down over the front to make a proper robot shin. Same here. You hinge it out at this red hinge here. You bring it all the way down. And that's really the robot legs done. Next, we need to deal with the body. We open these little sections out down here under her arms. And they will sort of just come out to the side. Nothing too challenging, I don't think, yet with this figure. The head, we just bring that back. And we open up the neck of the beast. It's going to come down to be shoulder pads, basically. And you might say, wait, this still doesn't look right. That's because it's not. You need to fold down at the body, and then you can bring this head, beast head, all the way down on her back. You open out the wings, and we are almost done. Almost done. Take the arms and turn them around and flip back the talons, or I guess you can flip back the talons now if you want, and bring out the fist, turn the arm around so that the hands are oriented in the right position, and in the end, boom, there you go, Ripclaw in beast mode, and she stands like a champion. Not because her feet are particularly fantastic, though they're okay, but because the tail section here really works as a third leg. It's great. I think that's fantastic. Her head, it can look up a little bit, it can look down a little bit, left and right, not really, because it's kind of hindered. The shoulder pads, these shoulder pads move. Oh, I think you're also supposed to... Do they flip up? There you go. The shoulder pads, yeah, I can, like, when you flip down, those little starts just kind of automorph into the shoulder pad. But the arms, if you move the shoulder pad out of the way, they can go out about this far. So not a fantastic range out, but not bad. There's a nice 90-degree elbow bend. There is a rotation below the elbow, so you kind of, it's not really wrist articulation, but it's like forearm articulation. No bicep swivel, which is a shame. So she can't put her arms across her body, really. No waist. The legs go way out forward, and the legs go way back. Nice 90-degree at the knee, and not ever so slight of a thigh swivel, but it's really because of the hinge up here, not a dedicated thigh swivel. So because of the limitations of really no bicep swivel and no thigh swivel, that's why she gets a bit of a lower score. She still functions well. She's still solid, and she still has good articulation. It just could have been a little bit better. The transformation is involved, but super easy. I'm going to give that a 9, to be honest with you. That being said, you do have the weapon here on back as well. It is just pegged in, so you can pull it out, and there is a post right there on the weapon that goes into a hole back right here, back right here on the tail. So you can take that, you can leave it in there if you want, but you can take it out and she can hold it well. And I assume that there's a button here for this. Is there a button for this? I thought that there was a button for this. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. Or maybe I am wrong, yeah. The teeth, you know, they can open on the tail to kind of show off her blaster like that. And it works, you know, or of course you can close it. Hey, no problem. I personally tend to leave it in the tail just because I think it looks, I don't know, coolest back here, I guess. The tail, I mean, can come right up over her head, so she could actually, if you wanted to, she could actually shoot, you know, still from her tail up over her head if you were so inclined. I dig her, personally. I'm going to give her an overall score of about an 8. Certainly not perfect. Actually, about a 7.5, because the thighs and the arms really kind of get me. But a great entry, and what could have been a great character, I think, on the show. And a nice start to what could actually be a viable third faction. But she wouldn't be the only one to come along. There would be others. And this Predacon army would indeed grow. Now, how does she compare size-wise? Well, here she is with a modern day deluxe. That being the Titans Return Blur, who I looked at in full in episode 138, as well as the mod that I did, so you don't actually have to remove his Titan Master unit. But again, like, scales, you know, scales logically, scales well. Taking that out of it. Should you go and hunt her down? If you dig the idea of having, you know, a bit of a Predacon grouping and a Predacon army, why not? Plus, you can probably find a pretty good deal on her, to be perfectly honest with you, because a lot of these got overlooked, and that's really a bit of a shame. Anyway, that's it for this one. I hope that I've given you a little food for thought about possibly, you know, possibly giving these guys a second chance and a second look. I'm glad that I did. And who knows, maybe you will be too, and maybe you won't. And there's a lot of solids there. Alright, so that's it. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks for giving me some of your time. Like I always say, you know that it's appreciated. And I certainly look forward to the next time that you and I get together for another visit right here inside the videos.